Welcome back. I am Pemberton, and this is Book 4 Part 3. Moses knows he is going to die. So, with 30 days left, he calls the whole nation together, the men, the women, the children, even the slaves, and he gives them the thing he most wants to leave behind, not a kingdom, but a constitution. First a great farewell address, urging them to keep faith when the deserts are behind them and the comfortable fields ahead. Then the laws themselves, set out one after another how the nation is to be governed, where it is to worship, how judges are to be chosen and witnesses weighed, the laws of the harvest and the tithe, of property and boundaries and lending, of trusts and strays, and the treatment of strangers and the poor. Josephus, a priest himself, took special care with all of this. It is the blueprint of a whole society, dictated by a dying man in a desert camp. We will go through it as he gives it. Let us go on.
When the 40 years were within 30 days of being completed, Moses gathered the congregation together near Jordan, at the place where the city of Bela now stands, a place full of palm trees. When all the people had come together, he spoke to them. O Israelites and fellow soldiers, who have shared with me in this long and difficult journey, it is now the will of God, and the course of old age at 120 years requires, that I depart from this life. God has forbidden me to be your patron or assistant in what remains to be done beyond Jordan. Yet I thought it reasonable not to stop laboring even now for your happiness, but to do all I can to secure for you the lasting enjoyment of good things, and to leave a memorial for myself when you are enjoying great plenty and prosperity. Come then, let me tell you by what means you may be happy and may leave that happiness as an eternal and prosperous possession to your children after you, and then let me go out of the world. I deserve to be believed by you both because of the great things I have already done for you and because, when souls are about to leave the body, they speak with the most sincere freedom. O children of Israel, there is only one source of happiness for all mankind, the favor of God. He alone is able to give good things to those who deserve them, and to take them away from those who sin against him. If you behave toward him according to his will, and according to what I, who understand his mind well, urge you to do, you will be counted blessed and will be admired by all people. You will never fall into misfortunes or cease to be happy. You will preserve the possession of the good things you already have, and you will quickly obtain those you now lack, if only you obey those whom God wants you to follow. Do not prefer any other constitution of government to the laws now given to you. Do not disregard the form of divine worship you now have, and do not change it for any other form. If you do this, you will be the bravest of all people in enduring the hardships of war, and you will not be easily conquered by any of your enemies. For while God is present with you to help you, it is to be expected that you will be able to despise the opposition of all mankind. Great rewards of virtue are set before you if you preserve that virtue throughout your lives. Virtue itself is the chief and first reward, and after that it gives abundance of other rewards. By practicing virtue toward other people, you will make your own lives happy, become more glorious than foreigners can be, and secure an undisputed reputation with posterity. You will be able to obtain these blessings if you listen to and observe the laws that I have ordained for you by divine revelation, and if you also meditate on the wisdom contained in them. I myself am going away from you, rejoicing in the good things you enjoy. I commend you to the wise conduct of your law, to the proper order of your polity, and to the virtues of your commanders, who will take care of what is for your advantage. God, who has been your leader until now, and by whose goodwill I myself have been useful to you, will not now put an end to his providence over you. As long as you desire to have him as your protector in your pursuit of virtue, so long will you enjoy his care. Your high priest Eleazar, as well as Joshua, with the senate and the chiefs of your tribes, will go before you and give you the best advice. By following that advice, you will continue to be happy. Listen to them without reluctance, understanding that all who know well how to be governed will also know how to govern if they themselves are raised to that authority. Do not think liberty consists in opposing the directions that your governors think fit to give you for your conduct. At present, indeed, you place your liberty in nothing but abusing your benefactors. If you can avoid this error in the future, your affairs will be in better condition than they have been until now. Never indulge such passion in these matters as you have often done when you have been very angry with me. You know that I have more often been in danger of death from you than from our enemies. I remind you of this not to reproach you, for I do not think it proper, now that I am leaving the world, to bring this back to your memory in order to leave you offended at me. Even when I suffered those hardships from you, I was not angry with you. I say it to make you wiser hereafter, and to teach you that this will be for your safety. Never injure those who preside over you, even when you become rich, as you will become to a great degree after you cross Jordan and possess the land of Canaan. For when your wealth has carried you so far as contempt and disregard of virtue, you will also forfeit the favor of God. When you have made him your enemy, you will be defeated in war, and the land you possess will be taken from you again by your enemies with great reproach upon your conduct. You will be scattered over the whole world, and as slaves you will fill both sea and land. Once you have experienced what I now say, you will repent and remember the laws you have broken, when it is too late. Therefore, if you intend to preserve these laws, I advise you to leave none of your enemies alive after you have conquered them, but to consider it to your advantage to destroy them all, lest, if you allow them to live, you taste their manners, and thereby corrupt your own proper institutions. I further urge you to overthrow their altars, their groves, and whatever temples they have among them, and to burn all such things, their nation, and their very memory with fire. By this means alone can the safety of your own happy constitution be firmly secured to you. And to prevent your ignorance of virtue and the degeneration of your nature into vice, I have also ordained laws for you, by divine suggestion, and a form of government so good that if you regularly observe them, all people will consider you the happiest of men. When Moses had spoken in this way, he gave them the laws and the constitution of government written in a book. At this the people fell into tears. They already seemed deeply affected by the sense that they would greatly miss their conductor, because they remembered how many dangers he had passed through and how much care he had taken for their preservation. They were despondent about what would happen to them after his death. They thought they would never have another governor like him, and they feared that God would take less care of them when Moses was gone, since Moses used to intercede for them. They also repented of what they had said to him in the wilderness, when they were angry, and they grieved over those things. The whole body of the people fell into tears with such bitterness that words had no power to comfort them in their affliction. Nevertheless Moses gave them some consolation. By turning their minds away from the thought of how worthy he was of their weeping for him, he urged them to keep to the form of government he had given them. Then the congregation was dismissed at that time. Accordingly, I shall now first describe this form of government, which was suitable to the dignity and virtue of Moses, and by doing so inform those who read these Antiquities what our original settlements were. After that I shall proceed to the remaining histories. These settlements are all still in writing, just as Moses left them. We shall add nothing for ornament, nor anything besides what Moses left us. We shall innovate only so far as to arrange the several kinds of laws into a regular system, for Moses left them in writing as they were accidentally scattered in their delivery, and as he learned them from God upon inquiry. For this reason I have thought it necessary to make this observation beforehand, lest any of my own countrymen blame me as though I had committed an offense in this matter. Part of our constitution will include the laws that belong to our political state. As for those laws Moses left concerning our common conversation and dealings with one another, I have reserved them for a discourse concerning our manner of life and the occasions of those laws, which I intend, with God's assistance, to write after I have finished the work I am now undertaking. When you have taken possession of the land of Canaan, have leisure to enjoy its good things, and afterward decide to build cities, then if you do what is pleasing to God, you will have a secure state of happiness. Let there be one city in the land of Canaan, situated in the most agreeable place for its goodness and very eminent in itself, and let it be the city God chooses for himself by prophetic revelation. Let there also be one temple in it and one altar, not built of hewn stones, but of stones gathered together at random. When those stones are whitened over with mortar, they will have a handsome appearance and be beautiful to the eye. Let the ascent to the altar not be by steps, but by a slope of raised earth. Let there be no altar and no temple in any other city, for God is one, and the nation of the Hebrews is one. Let the person who blasphemes God be stoned. Let him hang on a tree for that whole day, and then let him be buried in a shameful and obscure manner. Let those who live as far away as the boundaries of the land the Hebrews will possess come to the city, where the temple is 3 times each year, so that they may give thanks to God for his former benefits and may entreat him for what they will need afterward. By these meetings and feasts together, let them maintain friendly relations with one another. It is good for those who are of the same stock and under the same system of laws not to be unacquainted with each other. Such acquaintance will be preserved by conversing together in this way, by seeing and speaking with one another, and by renewing the memories of this union. If they do not continue to converse together in this way, they will appear like mere strangers to one another. Let a tenth be taken from your fruits, in addition to what you have assigned to give to the priests and Levites. You may sell this tenth in the country, but it must be used for the feasts and sacrifices that are to be celebrated in the holy city. It is fitting that you enjoy the fruits of the earth that God gives you to possess in a manner that honors the giver. You must not offer sacrifices from the hire of a woman who is a harlot, for the deity is not pleased with anything that arises from such abuses of nature, and no abuse of that kind can be worse than this prostitution of the body. In the same way, no one may take the price paid for the covering of a bitch, whether one used in hunting or in keeping sheep, and from that price sacrifice to God. Let no one blaspheme the gods that other cities regard as gods. No one may steal what belongs to foreign temples, or take away gifts dedicated to any god. Let none of you wear a garment made of wool and linen together, for that is appointed for the priests alone. When the multitude is assembled in the holy city for sacrificing every 7th year at the Feast of Tabernacles, let the high priest stand on a high platform from which he can be heard, and let him read the laws to all the people. Let neither women nor children be kept from hearing, nor servants either. It is good for those laws to be engraved in their souls and preserved in their memories, so that it will not be possible to blot them out. In this way they will not be guilty of sin while claiming ignorance of what the laws have commanded them. The laws will also have greater authority among them, because they foretell what they will suffer if they break them, and because this hearing will imprint in their souls what the laws command them to do. Thus there will always remain in their minds the intention of the laws that they have despised and broken, by which they have caused their own misfortune. Let the children also learn the laws as the first thing they are taught. This will be the best thing they can be taught, and it will be the cause of their future happiness. Let every person commemorate before God the benefits he bestowed on them when he delivered them out of the land of Egypt, and let this be done twice every day, both when the day begins and when the hour of sleep comes on. Gratitude is just by its own nature, and it serves not only as a return for past favors but also as an invitation for future ones. They are also to write the principal blessings they have received from God on their doors, and to show the same remembrance of them on their arms. They are also to bear on their forehead and on their arm those wonders that declare the power of God and his goodwill toward them, so that God's readiness to bless them may appear conspicuously everywhere about them. Let there be 7 men to judge in every city, and let them be men who have already been especially zealous in the practice of virtue and righteousness. Let every judge have 2 officers assigned to him from the tribe of Levi. Let those chosen to judge in the several cities be held in great honor. Let no one be permitted to revile others when these judges are present, or to behave insolently toward them. It is natural that reverence toward those who hold high offices among men should produce fear and reverence toward God. Let the judges be permitted to decide according to what they think is right, unless someone can show that they have taken bribes to pervert justice, or can bring some other accusation against them by which it may appear that they have passed an unjust sentence. It is not fitting that cases be openly determined out of regard for gain, or for the dignity of the disputing parties. Rather, judges must esteem what is right above everything else. Otherwise God will by this means be despised and considered inferior to those whose power has caused the unjust sentence to be feared. Justice is the power of God. Therefore the person who gratifies those of great dignity supposes them to be more powerful than God himself. But if these judges are unable to give a just sentence in the cases that come before them, as often happens in human affairs, let them send the case undetermined to the holy city. There the high priest, the prophet, and the Sanhedrin shall decide it as seems good to them. Let not a single witness be credited, but 3 or at least 2, and only those whose testimony is confirmed by their good lives. Let the testimony of women not be admitted because of the levity and boldness of their sex. Nor let servants be admitted to give testimony, because of the ignobility of their soul, since it is probable that they may not speak the truth either from hope of gain or from fear of punishment. If anyone is believed to have borne false witness, then when he is convicted, let him suffer the very same punishments that the person against whom he testified would have suffered. If a murder is committed anywhere, and the one who did it is not found, and there is no suspicion of anyone as though he had hated the man and therefore killed him, let a very diligent inquiry be made for the murderer, and let rewards be offered to anyone who will reveal him. But if no information can still be obtained, let the magistrates and senate of the cities near the place where the murder was committed assemble together and measure the distance from the place where the dead body lies. Then let the magistrates of the nearest city purchase a heifer and bring it into a valley, to a place where no land has been plowed and no trees planted. Let them cut the sinews of the heifer. Then the priests and Levites, and the senate of that city, shall take water and wash their hands over the head of the heifer. They shall openly declare that their hands are innocent of this murder, and that they neither did it themselves nor helped anyone who did it. They shall also beseech God to be merciful to them, so that no such horrible act may ever again be done in that land. Aristocracy, and the way of living under it, is the best constitution. May you never have any inclination toward any other form of government. May you always love this form, have the laws as your governors, and govern all your actions according to them, for you need no supreme governor but God. But if you should desire a king, let him be one of your own nation. Let him always be careful of justice and all other virtues. Let him submit to the laws, and esteem God's commands as his highest wisdom. Let him do nothing without the high priest and the votes of the senators. Let him not have many wives, nor pursue an abundance of riches, nor a multitude of horses, by which he might grow too proud to submit to the laws. If he seeks any such things, let him be restrained, lest he become so powerful that his condition is inconsistent with your welfare. Let it not be considered lawful to remove boundaries, whether our own or those of people with whom we are at peace. Take care not to remove those landmarks, which are, as it were, a divine and unshaken limitation of rights made by God himself to last forever. Going beyond limits and gaining ground from others is the occasion of wars and seditions. Those who remove boundaries are not far from attempting to overthrow the laws. If a man plants a piece of land whose trees produce fruit before the 4th year, he is not to bring any first fruits from it to God, nor is he to use that fruit himself, for it is not produced in its proper season. When nature has been forced at an unseasonable time, the fruit is not suitable either for God or for the owner's use. But let the owner gather everything that grows in the 4th year, for then it is in its proper season. Let the one who has gathered it carry it to the holy city and spend it, together with the tithe of his other fruits, in feasting with his friends, with the orphans, and with the widows. But in the 5th year the fruit is his own, and he may use it as he pleases. You must not sow seed in a piece of land that is planted with vines, for it is enough that the land supply nourishment to that plant and not also be worn out by plowing. You are to plow your land with oxen, and not require other animals to come under the same yoke with them, but to till your land with beasts of the same kind. The seeds are also to be pure and without mixture, not compounded of 2 or 3 sorts, since nature does not rejoice in the union of things that are not alike in their own nature. Nor are you to permit beasts of different kinds to breed together, for there is reason to fear that this unnatural abuse may spread from beasts of different kinds to men, though it first begins from evil practices in smaller matters. Nothing is to be allowed by imitation of which any degree of subversion may creep into the constitution. The laws do not neglect small matters, but provide that even these may be managed in a blameless way. Let those who reap and gather in the grain that is reaped not gather the gleanings also. Instead, let them leave some handfuls for those who lack the necessities of life, so that these may be a support and supply for their subsistence. In the same way, when they gather their grapes, let them leave some smaller bunches for the poor. When they gather the olives, let them pass over some of the fruit of the olive trees and leave it to be shared by those who have none of their own. The advantage that comes from collecting everything exactly will not be as great to the owners as the gratitude of the poor will be. God will provide that the land more willingly produce what nourishes its fruits, if you do not care only for your own advantage, but also have regard for the support of others. You are not to muzzle the mouths of the oxen when they tread the ears of grain on the threshing floor, for it is not just to restrain our fellow working animals, which labor for the production of this fruit, from sharing in the fruit of their labors. Nor are you to forbid those who pass by when your fruits are ripe to touch them. Give them leave to fill themselves with what you have, whether they are of your own country or strangers, gladly taking the opportunity to give them some part of your fruits when they are ripe. But it must not be considered lawful for them to carry any away. Nor let those who gather grapes and carry them to the winepresses stop those whom they meet from eating them. It is unjust, out of envy, to hinder those who desire it from sharing in the good things that come into the world, according to God's will, especially while the season is at its height and is hastening away as God pleases. If some, out of modesty, are unwilling to touch these fruits, let them be encouraged to take some, I mean those who are Israelites, as if they themselves were the owners and lords, because of the kinship between them. Also invite people who come from other countries to share in these tokens of friendship that God has given in their proper season. That is not to be considered idly spent which anyone communicates to another out of kindness, since God bestows plenty of good things on men not only for their own advantage, but also so that they may give to others generously. By this means he desires to make known to others his peculiar kindness to the people of Israel, and how freely he communicates happiness to them, while they abundantly share from their great surplus with even these foreigners. But let anyone who acts contrary to this law be beaten with 40 stripes, save one by the public executioner. Let him undergo this punishment, a most disgraceful one for a free man, because he was so enslaved to gain that he placed a blot on his own dignity. It is proper for you, who have experienced the afflictions in Egypt and in the wilderness, to provide for those who are in similar circumstances. Since you have now obtained plenty through the mercy and providence of God, distribute from that same plenty, with the same sympathy, to those who need it. Besides the 2 tithes that I have already said you are to pay each year, one for the Levites and the other for the festivals, you are to bring every 3rd year a 3rd tithe to be distributed to those in need, also to women who are widows, and to children who are orphans. As for the ripe fruits, let them carry into the temple the portion that ripens first of all. When they have blessed God for the land that bore them, and that he gave them as a possession, and when they have also offered the sacrifices that the law commanded them to bring, let them give the first fruits to the priests. When anyone has done this, and has brought the tithe of all he has, together with those first fruits that are for the Levites, and for the festivals, and when he is about to go home, let him stand before the holy house and give thanks to God because he has delivered them from the injurious treatment they suffered in Egypt, and has given them a good and large land and lets them enjoy its fruits. When he has openly testified that he has fully paid the tithes and other dues according to the laws of Moses, let him entreat God to be forever merciful and gracious to him, and to continue so toward all the Hebrews, both by preserving the good things he has already given them, and by adding what it is still in his power to bestow upon them.
And there we will pause, in the middle of Moses' great farewell, with the framework of the laws laid down, the courts, the worship, the rules of justice and property by which this people was to live. But Moses is not finished. There remain the laws of the household and the family, and then something larger than any single statute, the solemn setting out of blessing and curse, the choice laid before the nation, the sum he leaves them to remember, and the handing of his work to another man. Next time, in part for the close of Book 4, the rest of the laws, the blessings and the curses, the sum of Moses, the charge to Joshua, and the death of the lawgiver himself. Mind the footnotes, and beware the folly.